Hey guys, thanks for watching my first video. I really appreciate that, and please know that I'm praying for all of you. So I've decided to kind of make a series of some more videos. I don't know what they're all going to be about. I'm just going to let the Holy Spirit kind of guide that and pick the topics. But the reason I want to do that is because I know that this whole waking up process is can be very overwhelming, and there is an enormous amount of information out there, but also disinformation and a lot of theories. And I like all of that stuff, but it's a lot to get through. And so if you would like help, then I'm going to make these videos to kind of cut through the white noise of all of it, find that thread of truth that goes through everything, and present that to you. Also, if you want to stay away from all the gory details and images and videos, I completely understand that and respect that. And so this will kind of be a way for you to get the truth without having to get all the details. So this video is going to be talking about how they hide in plain sight, and specifically in movies for this video. What I mean is that they hide what they tell us what they're doing and what they're about, and we just take it right on in. So why do they do this? They do this to break down our God-given morality, those kind of spiritual hedges of protection that we've put or have been put in place to protect our minds and protect our hearts. So they need to break those down, and this is a very effective way to do it. They present it as fiction, and it is a form of mind control, brainwashing tactics, and it's so they have programmed responses in us that we don't even realize. And I'll tell you what those two main responses are. When we hear of a story, the truth leaks out here and there, and it does. But when we hear them, our two responses usually are, it's not true. There's more to this story. So I don't have that. There's got to be more to this story because there's no way that that could be true. Or the other response is, it's just an isolated event. It's just some random psycho. It's really screwed up, but it's just isolated. So that's our two main programmed responses that have been programmed inside of us to dismiss it as not true at all, not all the facts, we don't have all the facts, or that it's just an isolated event. But the truth of the matter is that this network is enormous. It's everywhere. It's in our local communities, as well as in, like I said, governments, Hollywood, elite classes of people, royalty, corporations. It's in all of it. So the other day I sat down to compile a list of well-known, beloved movies that feature either in part or as the whole plot child torture and or child consumption. Now this is one of the gory details that I know most of us don't want to hear about, and I'm not going to go into it, but just know that the consumption of children is a huge part of this in these occult societies. Okay, so I'm going to read my list to you. I want you to kind of notice that even in these movies, it's presented as evil. It's the bad guys that are doing these things, and generally in the end, the good guys win. But we're still being presented with it. Our gates are still being bombarded with it. Our eyes, our ears. We're still letting it in and being entertained by it. That's part of the programming. the brainwashing. So number 1, BFG, the giants eat the children, specifically orphans in this story. Number 2, Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children. Bad guys steal and eat the eyes of these children for immortality. Number 3, Trolls. Number 4, Hansel and Gretel. And number 5, Little Red Riding Hood. These are old fairy tales, and it's a common theme in fairy tales. But all of these have to be rooted in some kind of truth. They're getting the story from somewhere. The story of you have to watch out because these bad guys want to eat your children. And they can cover it up with, oh, it's just teaching kids to obey their parents. Sure, but the truth's still there. Number 6, Smurfs. Smurfs represent children. Number 7, Monsters, Inc. These monsters are living off of the screams of tortured, terrified children. Number 8, Fat Bastard in Austin Powers. This movie came out when I was a teenager, and it's always funny to do an impersonation of Fat Bastard. And this is one of the first ones that popped into my head when I was making this list, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like an earworm that gets stuck in your ear. Like, I know I'm not the only one that did that impersonation. Number 9, It. This movie terrifies me. Number 10, Avatar. Now, I haven't seen this movie, but the premise is that this specific set of people, earthlings, whatever, are going to this other civilization, and they want to steal this source of life from them that's in this tree or whatever. And the race that they're stealing it from are very kind of innocent people, kind of like children, innocent. The Matrix, number 11. So the elite class in this movie are robots, but they are stealing the life force. They are living off the life force of, the human race. Number 12, Ursula in The Little Mermaid. She stole souls. Number 13, Tangled. Number 14, Hocus Pocus. They're both, stealing the life force from children to to be immortal and to remain young and beautiful. Number 15, Pan's Labyrinth. Number 16, The Dark Crystal. I lost count. Box Trolls. And then this one, someone else suggested this one, Death Becomes Her. It was a movie, I know it came out when I was younger, but it's they essentially drink some sort of elixir, I think, that makes them immortal and young and beautiful. And then hilarity ensues, right? So I hope now you'll start to see like all the subtle and not so subtle references to the consumption of children and torturing them in our movies. It's not just in the movies, it's in other forms of entertainment too. But this isn't about legalism or vilifying all fiction. Of course not. Our God he's a creative writer. So I just want you to be aware. This is the waking up process. Allow the Holy Spirit to convict you and ask him to make you aware of where you're compromising and where you're being complacent. Like I mentioned before in Ezekiel 36, like what he wants to do. He wants to turn our stony hearts into hearts of flesh that are sensitive to these things. And right now we're not. We are hard about these things that we watch. God is a jealous God. He says that many times. And I know a lot of people kind of view that as, he's like the jealous boyfriend type, but not at all. He's jealous for us, for our protection. The first commandment is to have no other gods before him. And that's not because he's on an ego trip. It's because he wants to protect us. He knows what these other gods require. He knows what being lenient to these other gods will lead us to. They all lead to human sacrifice. Dozens of references in the Bible of, don't sacrifice your children to these gods. I know that waking up is uncomfortable for all of us, but do it anyway. It's important. It matters. I'll help you however God leads me to. If you have questions, please ask. Remember to stay in the Word, stay in prayer, and worship, and know that He is the way, the truth, and the life.